In today's episode of On the Throttle, we dive into NPA's latest monthly stats and some used motorcycle investment tips to updates from Stark Future and Harley-Davidson. Let's take a look at the latest trends and news shaking up the market. Hi everybody, I'm Randy Zemnick for MPN. On our last episode, we noted that despite some forecasts of doom and gloom, the powersports market is thriving. Case in point, National Powersport Auctions recently released its April pre-owned market report. NPA states that market momentum remained robust in April, with wholesale price trends outperforming trailing 90-day comparables across nearly all major segments. While new unit volumes remain below 2024 benchmarks, used inventory remains the operational focus for most retail networks. On a year-over-year basis, April average wholesale prices posted strong gains in several key on-highway categories, including metric cruisers, metric sport, and domestic cruisers. Performance across off-highway segments was more varied. Side-by-sides, by far the largest off-highway category, showed signs of softening in April versus last year. However, near-term indicators suggest broad-based strength, with all major categories posting approximately 5% gains versus the prior 90-day average. Looking ahead, the historical price ceiling in May looms as consumer activity begins to taper into June. However, retail signals remain mixed. Disciplined aged inventory management, opportunistic buying, and real-time market responsiveness will be key to avoiding inventory misalignment as the summer cycle approaches. Speaking of the pre-owned market, let's talk about something a little controversial and a lot of fun. If I handed you $20,000 today and said you had to put it into either the stock market or a couple of well-selected used motorcycles, what would you do? According to Jacob Berry of Moto Hunt, powersports professionals are sitting on a sleeper investment: used motorcycles. When purchased strategically, appraised correctly, and priced right, he says used motorcycles can deliver over 30% returns within 90 days, if dealers know what to buy and how to price it. In his recent article, Berry offers tips on ways dealers can invest in the used market, such as through private party purchasing, auction buys, through your service department, and trade-in leads. We also spoke with Berry on the topic of inventory management in a recent episode of Power Players.
Poorly managing your inventory is going to bleed a lot of cash from dealers, right?
Yep.
So we see it all the time. New OEMs are always trying to give more of their inventory to dealers. We've seen it now more than ever. Demand is slightly waning, right? And so nothing's really wrong with that, but you got to have a good management system to help you with this inventory. So pricing comps, book values, all that stuff applies. And what dealers are really doing now is they're starting to be intelligence-based, using data-driven decisions.
Be sure to catch Jacob's full article and interview on our website. Now let's turn to some promising news from the OEMs. Stark Future, a Spanish manufacturer of high-performance electric motorcycles, has recorded its highest ever monthly revenue of over 18 million euros, while delivering a positive EBITDA of 2.8 million euros. In a period where the broader EV industry is facing headwinds, Stark Future's accomplishment represents positive news to market and consumers alike. Comparatively, Tesla needed nearly 17 years to achieve sustained profitability, all while earning billions of dollars annually, selling regulatory credits to other automakers. By contrast, motorcycle sales alone fund Stark Future's operations. Chinese manufacturer NIO has a similar product-driven revenue to Stark Future, yet it only reached positive EBITDA after 8 years. MPN will feature Stark Future in an upcoming episode of OEM Update. Stay tuned to our website, newsletter, and social media to watch when that interview drops. As for another OEM that looks to be turning a corner, Harley-Davidson shareholders voted on May 14th to retain their full board of directors, including CEO Jochen Zeitz, but only by a narrow margin. Nearly half of Harley-Davidson shareholders recently voted to withhold re-electing 3 targeted board directors: Jochen Zeitz, Tom Linebarger, and Sarah Levinson. Almost 90% of the non-passive institutional shares also voted withhold, making clear that shareholders want new leadership. While all 3 board members remain on, the vote has influenced Linebarger and Levinson to step down in 2026 and pushed for the next CEO to come from outside the company. The vote comes on the heels of a campaign that one of Harley-Davidson's largest shareholders, H Partners, launched in recent months called Free the Eagle, looking for a change in leadership. Harley-Davidson and H Partners have been at loggerheads for some months now as the OEM searches for a new CEO after Jochen Zeitz expressed the desire last September to retire this year. For some more insights on the issues surrounding Harley-Davidson and H Partners, check out MPN's deep dive on our website. That's a wrap on this week's On the Throttle. You can check out the full stories of all these highlights and more on motorcyclepowersportsnews.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified when the next episode drops. Thanks for watching.